After 2.5 years, the Africa Energy Bank based in Abuja, Nigeria is set to be a reality. South Africa is one of 18 founding members. The objective of the bank is to mitigate the gradual withdrawal by international banks to fund oil and gas projects. Joining us to talk more on this is Tsepo Mwai, SABC News economics editor. Tsepo, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Talk to us about essentially the objective of this bank that is soon to be established.
Well, currently it's about a $5 billion bank, but there are plans that over 6-7 years it will be 120 billion rand. Remember that your multilateral organizations and other funders, as you may be aware, that many projects on the continent are funded by money from outside the country. So many of this money has actually moved away from fossil resources. It's attached to renewable energy. Now, in Africa generally, we know that we are blessed with massive reserves of oil underground, and our market's actually growing in that area. So we are faced with this situation where we will no longer be able to tap into the traditional markets to access funding.
Yeah.
So the African Petroleum Producers Organization, which South Africa is one of the 18 members, they sat down as oil-producing countries, confronted with this challenge that, number one, you have technology that we import when we are exploring. That research and development, we are losing that because the world is moving away from fossil and gas.
Yeah.
And number two is the market. Most of the oil that we produce on the continent is actually destined for European and other developed markets. Now we know that it's shrinking, that market. So we need to develop new markets. And where are those markets? Here on the continent.
So what type of oil and gas projects will be funded by this bank?
Well, it's across the continent. We know there are new oil exploration projects that are due. There will probably be many other new ones that are discovered. So this fund will actually be used to fund those projects because there won't be any other money to fund such projects outside the country. So this is Africans mobilizing their own resources. Member countries will have to contribute, but they will also look for external funding. But they've been very firm that this must be those who share the same vision, because we know that many people are actually have questioned any project to do with fossil fuel, and they've questioned such move.
And then on the location, Nigeria, in Abuja, why exactly, or what criteria was used to select the country that would host this bank?
Well, there was a lot of lobbying. South Africa wanted to be one of the hosts, Ghana. There were a few other countries, I think about 6 of them. So I think Nigeria put in a very strong lobby. And I do know that Ghana and South Africa actually did not support Nigeria hosting the bank. But at the end, it was in Nigeria's favor, and I suppose all other members will have to support that decision.
So what would it have been? Pardon me for interjecting there. Would it have been perhaps security issues, socioeconomic issues? What were they considering when deciding that the bank's headquarters should be in Abuja?
I think they looked at a number of issues like the network, transport, some of the facilities that they have, the level of development in terms of financial markets in order to host such a bank. And in fact, Accra was the favorite, but I think Nigeria scored on some aspects that they were judging on much better than Accra. And Accra was actually the favorite because it's hosting the Secretariat for the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So ideally, it could have been the best country to host it, but in this case, Nigeria.
Do we think the package from the World Bank, the 2.25 billion that was extended to Nigeria, could have also influenced it in any way?
Well, it could be or maybe not, but we know for a fact that many of the funds from multilateral organizations are attached to renewable energy. If you can demonstrate that whatever you do, the long-term vision, it's that you are going to move away from fossil fuel, you will be able to secure funding. So I think probably Nigeria demonstrated that most of those funding will actually go into renewable energy, and that's why they were able to secure the funding. But it's very difficult to secure any project if you are going to be doing exploration in fossil resources.
Tsepo, as always, thank you very much for your time. That's economics editor Tsepo Moai speaking to us.